last day of the year is filled with deadlines. Find out what that means for some Columbia businesses.
Long lines today for those trying to beat the tax man to the end of the year deadline.
And if you're headed to the Cotton Bowl, we've got a list of some of the tastiest restaurants to try while in Dallas. KOMU 8 News First at 5 starts now.
Live from Studio 8A, coverage you can count on in high definition. This is KOMU 8 News First at 5.
The deadline is here. Today is the last day for bartenders and clerks in Columbia to get the certificate they need to be able to serve alcohol. A new ordinance goes into effect tomorrow. Good afternoon. I'm Paige Travis.
And I'm Angie Bailey. Thanks for joining us. KOMU 8's Nicole Cartmel joins us in the studio right now to explain how the rush is on to make sure anyone selling or serving alcohol can continue to do it after the start of the year.
Just a little more than a month ago, the health department had only issued 400 certificates to liquor store clerks, grocery store checkers, bartenders, and waiters. As of today, that number is 4 times as many. More than 1,600 people have now received their certification. January 1st marks the end of the 1-year grace period for all employees serving or selling alcohol to pass an online training course and get certified. That's according to an ordinance the City Council passed in 2012. A health department spokesperson says they've issued a majority of the certificates within the last month. For some, this requirement just reinforces practices they already had in place.
Yesterday, we saw 25 people before it was even 8:15, and we opened at 8. So, and those were all people coming in to get the cards. So it's really, people are realizing that the deadline is coming up. I mean, it's tomorrow.
We don't have too many problems with that. Most of our waitresses do a real good job of that. With like underage stuff, they kind of make it a game. You know, whoever gets the most IDs wins the game.
Business owners and alcohol servers run the risk of facing consequences if they are caught serving alcohol without a server card. If someone is caught, they may face suspension or revocation of their certificate or liquor license. This may also face penalties in city court.
Tomorrow, it's lights off for some incandescent light bulbs. To meet federal regulations, no longer can 40-watt or 60-watt light bulbs be produced. In the past 2 years, 70-watt and 100-watt incandescent bulbs were phased out as part of a nationwide push for energy efficiency. Retailers can still sell bulbs on the shelves at Westlake Ace Hardware in Columbia. Management prepared in advance. Peter Zane says Ace has prepared and says the stores can provide bulbs for about a year. Zane says to know your options when making the switch.
With incandescents, one thing is that they're all pretty much soft white, 2700K, yellowish light. Decide what color temperature you want so it'll be consistent throughout your house. Look at the different color temperatures and decide if you want that soft white still, a bright white or a daylight bulb. And just replace one at a time. You don't have to do it all at once. Once you have a color temperature picked out and you know that you prefer the LED for the longevity or the vibration resistance, as they burn out, you can really phase that cost across.
Here's what bulbs you can buy now. One option is LED light bulbs. They will cost you the most, but will also save you the most. Another option is fluorescent light bulbs. They're slightly cheaper than LED and will still save you money on your electric bill. Finally, you can stock up in incandescent bulbs while you can. They're the cheapest option at the checkout for now until they are gone. And Boone County taxpayers have until midnight tonight to pay their property taxes.
And some of you will wait that long for sure. KOMU 8's Jaishi Liu joins us in the studio to tell us what you need to do to avoid any penalties.
Property taxes bills are mailed in the middle of November. Still, every year there are a lot of people that pay in person close to the deadline. Taxpayers lined up at the collector's office today. The office just closed, but residents can still drop their checks at the drop box located on the collector's office 9th Street entrance. The drop box will be available until midnight tonight. The U.S. Postal Service on the Walnut Street will have a window open until 7 p.m. to ensure mail is postmarked by today's date. The Boone County collectors reminds people that unsigned checks cannot be taken as payments for taxes.
It happens more than people would. They get in a hurry, they'll put it in the drop box, and they'll forget to sign the check. And then when we're ready to process it, we cannot accept the payment. And late fees would apply then.
If you haven't paid your property taxes by now, go to our website at KOMU.com to see more ways to make your last-minute payment.
If you're thinking about it, making those travel plans to Dallas, you might be researching which restaurants you want to try while you're there. KOMU 8's Lucas Geisler's live in Dallas to help you make some of those decisions. Lucas?
Well, good afternoon. While there are plenty of places worth visiting in Dallas to eat, there are some tasty and successful places that you won't find in a building. Instead, you'll have to find those on four wheels. While hundreds of cars use the Woodall Rogers Freeway daily in downtown Dallas, it's the few cars that stop above it that people are noticing. Food trucks line one of the blocks at Clyde Warren Park, a place for the many visitors to refuel.
Never been down to the food trucks before, and it seems like the new thing for Dallas, so I was like, we might as well come explore and see what's going on.
Two Trucks LLC co-owner Dale Poole, who owns a number of food trucks in the Dallas area, says it's only been 1 year since Clyde Warren Park allowed food trucks to park there. Since then, the exposure has been a tremendous boost to his business. Poole also said the location of the trucks helps the business. By being this close to Clyde Warren Park, a sit-down meal is just a few feet away. Holly Woods works at What's the Scoop, an ice cream truck owned by Two Trucks. She says it's the unique experience that draws people to the vehicles.
Food trucks, like what most people expect on the white trucks, they're expecting your typical breakfast sandwiches and stuff like that. This is gourmet food and served out of a window. How much more fun is that?
Woods hopes to run her own food truck someday. She sees food as the best job security.
You're never going to be able to cook gourmet food out of a machine. You know what I mean? It's always going to be a hands-on thing. It's always going to be needed and wanted, and personally, I want to be a part of that.
Now, as far as if food trucks will be successful in a smaller community like Columbia, Poole said that the industry thrives on pedestrian life. He said that his most successful communities in the business are the ones that have fewer restrictions on where food trucks are allowed to park and sell. In Dallas, there's only a few places that will allow them. He also welcomes health departments to come and inspect these food trucks. That way it dispels any fears that people might have that the trucks are selling unsafe food. Reporting live in Dallas for the Mizzou Extra, Lucas Geisler, KOMU 8 News.
Governor Nixon made a friendly wager with Oklahoma Governor Mary Fallin on the outcome of Friday night's Cotton Bowl game between their respective alumni matters. Both governors are wagering food products from their states with the food to be donated to a food bank or pantry in the state of the winning team. And there was an explosion at a Texas gas line.
And home prices are going up at a slower pace. KOMU 8's Aaliyah Denyer is with us in the studio with your news from around the nation.
Firefighters near LaPorte, Texas spent the last day of the year in the heat after an industrial pipeline erupts into flames. Fire crews work to extinguish the blaze at Enterprise Products in Morgan's Point, Texas. Authorities on scene say they were called in around 10:30 this morning. From the air, you can see fire teams attacking the flames on 3 sides, but it continues to burn steady. Home prices continue to rise across the country, but at a slower pace as higher mortgages rates weigh in on sales. The index by Standard & Poor's, Case & Shiller shows home prices up by 0.2% between September and October, down slightly, the point increase noted August to September. Despite a slow fall, 2013 was overall a good year for home prices with a total increase of 13.6%. A Marine killed in Afghanistan received a hero's homecoming today. The body of 27-year-old Sergeant Daniel Vasilian arrived at Logan International Airport in Boston, where Marines carried his casket to a hearse as state troopers stood by and saluted. Vasilian was killed in combat in Afghanistan 2 days before Christmas. And that's your look around the nation.
In your world news, a doctor suspected of stealing 7 babies went on trial yesterday in northwest China. The suspect was a gynecologist at a maternity and child health hospital. State media says she attempted yesterday to involvement in child trafficking. 5 other suspects have also been detained.
Here in mid-Missouri, it's starting to cool off, and that won't be slowing down. Let's check in with Tim in the Weather Lab for your New Year's Eve forecast. Tim?
Yeah, I think that at least for the next couple of hours, we're going to remain fairly mild. We reached a high temperature of 45 degrees here in Columbia, and that was kind of what we hit all across much of mid-Missouri. We saw a lot of sunshine today, too. A few little high-passing clouds here or there, but I think that as we head into the next couple of hours, we're going to start to increase that cloud cover a little bit, too. Your New Year's Eve plans? Looking fairly nice. I think that our temperatures are going to be in the lower 30s for majority of the evening. We'll eventually cloud it up heading into New Year's Day. We'll talk about your full forecast coming up in just a couple of minutes.
Also coming up in your health news, a new study reveals there's still a huge disparity among racial groups when it comes to preventative dental care. And January 1st, prime time to start that exercise regimen. Lots of you are thinking about it, I know it. Tips on how to successfully keep up with a potential resolution after the break.
You're looking live over Columbia. This is KOMU 8 News, first at 5, coverage you can count on.